So welcome everyone to our fourth and final show of the Future Leaders Program of NAIFA. And we're very happy to have you all here with us today. And today we have a very special guest, as all of our guests are very special, but Chris Gandy, who is based out of the Chicagoland area. And he is with OneAmerica, and Chris also serves on our NAIFA Board of Trustees. So he's going to come on and talk a little bit about his story and, why this is a great profession to get into. And also, Chris has a unique story because he actually is a former NBA player. So he came into this as a second profession after his NBA career. So Chris, I will turn it over to you. Chris is actually in the Chicagoland area. And as I mentioned in the waiting room, that there was some ice storms coming through the Midwest, and I know he's on his phone, but it looks like you are up and ready to go, Chris.
Yeah, sorry, the common theme, the most popular phrase last year in 2022 was "you're on mute." That was the most popular phrase in 2020 and 22. So with that being said, I like to start with start with the end in mind, right? And so, hi everyone, I'm Chris Gandy. I'm the president and CEO of a group by the way of called Midwest Legacy Group. The concept of that is to leave the world a little better than you found it. So, with that being said, this program is called the Future Leaders Program. And so let's start, Emily, if you're okay with that, and then I'll kind of get into those 7 things that I said I was going to discuss today. Let's start with their questions, right? So, normally it ends with questions. Let's see if we can start with their questions, and let's see if I can't answer those along this journey. So then by the time we get done, it's questions that they would have thought of once they got off the call versus questions that they naturally would have from the beginning. So the question I have for all of you is, 1, why are you on this call? 2 is, what would you like to learn today or hear about today that could help you either, kind of make some decisions about your future, and ideally any leader, as being a leader in this is why it's called the Future Leaders Program, in the financial or insurance industry. And so, Emily, if you could help me with that, just type it in. Emily will read it, and then I'll make sure I take some notes on that. Okay. So everybody here has expectations, right? And so you all came in with some level of expectations. So if you did not, then this is probably the wrong call. But if you're on the right call, is you had a level of expectation, whether it was to be entertained, or it was, I want to see some funny stuff about insurance or financial advising, but whatever it may be, you had some expectations. So what would you like to get out of this, or questions you would like answered in this time that we can actually answer for you? So let's start with the end in mind, Emily, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So so go ahead and use the Q&A or chat feature, or and then we can kind of go from there. Or if you want to unmute and ask your question, you can do that as well. Okay, we've got one. Coming from the NBA, what was the transition from sports business to different industries?
Okay. Sports. So I call that the hardwood to the boardroom. What skill sets transition smoothly, and which ones don't?
Yep. What are some personal skills and professional qualifications that you think a young professional should develop to succeed?
Everybody has to have at least one, or else I can't go on. That's the deal. So make sure you type something in. It doesn't matter if you want to learn how to make popcorn. I don't know. You want to learn how to wear a suit. I don't know what it is, but everybody has to have at least one. So we have 2, and we have 6 people on the call, Emily, not including me and you. So we have a couple more.
Hello, I'll unmute and ask my question. So why I'm on this call today is because I'm just interested in learning about the different sectors of the financial services industry. And so I'm wondering what drew you specifically to the sector of the financial services industry that you are involved with, and what maybe your day-to-day looks like in that.
So let me summarize what I believe I heard you say. So the why, right? Why, what attracted me to the industry? And then two is, what was the second part of that?
What does your day-to-day look like in the specific part of the
Day.
industry that you're involved with?
Great. Okay.
Okay, Chris, we got another one that came in when you're ready.
Okay.
How do you deal with
Go
rejection
ahead.
how do you deal with rejection or frustration when you try to achieve a professional goal?
That's one of those life skills. I'm not sure that's a business question, but it's okay with that.
Yeah, but I something tells me you've got some good stories on that one.
Sure.
Well, how is wow, I just forgot now that I'm muted. Wow. Give me 1 second. Let me rethink.
We can hear.
I mean, what is your best piece of advice for a college student to prepare for a career in insurance and financial services? What's your number one?
Well, all 7 of these that I'm going to go through today, right? Those are all good.
Okay.
Let's see,
Sorry.
how was your transition from basketball to business?
Okay, so that goes back to the hardwood to the boardroom. That kind of we'll cover that. That's easy.
Mhm.
Okay, time's ticking, so we want to stay on time. So
Yep, yeah, Ty, if you come up with yours, go ahead and put it in chat.
yep. So we'll close, Emily, at how much time do I have on the mic? Do I have 30 minutes? What do I have?
Yeah, 30,
20?
40 minutes. 30.
I need about 20. So I promise to be short, sweet, and to the point. How's that?
Perfect.
And then we'll leave it open for questions, and we'll close at what, 11:45? Is that what we're trying to do? Is that our
Yep.
objective?
Yep.
Let's do it. All right. So in going through this journey, I like to talk about myself because it's easier to talk about myself than it is other people. And so I'm going to mix in a couple things. One, I'm going to mix in personal stories. Two, I'm going to mix in what I've found and I've studied in this industry that I know is very progressive and actually successful for people. And I've studied the masters, meaning the guys that are killing it, crushing it, making millions and millions of dollars in our business a year. I've studied their habits and their behaviors, so I can actually share with you, I've seen it numerous times that this will work if you follow these guidelines. So Emily asked me to come on today. So she shared my story, which is kind of interesting. Is anybody from Illinois? Don't know? Raise your hand. If so, so be it. If not, I'm from Kankakee, Illinois, which is about an hour and 15 minutes north, right sandwiched in between Chicago and the University of Illinois. I ended up going to school at the University of Illinois, and then playing, happy I can walk and chew gum at the same time. So I happened to make it on the basketball team. Because I made it on the basketball team, if I was going to do something, my whole theory is if you're going to do it well, or not, or don't do it at all, right? I'll throw this out to everybody on here is that, there's a lot of interest that probably most of you have. And when I was growing up, I had a lot of interest. One of the things I had an interest in is I had an interest in being a pilot. Most don't know that, my first love in life was actually baseball. I played baseball in high school. I played baseball as a grade school kid. I didn't play basketball until I was actually in college. Almost in college. I was a junior, almost a senior in high school. I was a junior in high school, and I decided to play basketball because my coach kept bothering me about, hey, you should come try this basketball thing. So I ended up playing basketball and baseball and running track when I was in high school. I actually got a scholarship to actually go play baseball at a D2 school versus a D1 school, and actually got a scholarship to actually go run track at another school. So when I was coming out, I had choices. And the first thing I want to talk about is choices. Is each one of you have made a choice to be on this call, but at the end of the day, it's about choices. Like life is about choices. And at the end of the day, you can't look backwards trying to figure out, hey, was that choice the right one? Right? And so I'll give you a couple quotes that I think will be very good for you guys to kind of it'll be good whether you come into financial services industry or not. there's a difference between an interest and a commitment. A lot of us have interests. So I had an interest in being a pilot, I had an interest in playing baseball, I had an interest in doing a lot of things, right? And I had an interest in doing that, but I wasn't I was not committed to doing those things. And so to put it in perspective, most people are interested in a lot of things. But what that does is, because that interest wanders with, when it's no longer on the forefront, that they're not committed to a lot of things. It's really difficult for you to be committed to a lot of things, and I'll prove it. The difference between an interest and a commitment is convenience. When things become inconvenient, do you put your head down and pursue it in the face of adversity, fear, discomfort, rejection, all those things? Do you burn the ships and say, no matter what, I'm going to excel, I'm going to do well, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to do this. There are no other options. There are no other choices. This is the choice I made. This is the bed I chose, and this is the choice I'm going to live in. So I'll repeat that. The difference between an interest and a commitment is convenience. Okay, so when it becomes inconvenient, a lot of the interests wander. Like, if I had to make a choice between basketball and baseball, it was I wanted to basketball. So I made the choice to play basketball, and I forgot about the idea of being happy to play baseball, back and playing baseball in the past. Okay, so that's one that I would share with you, and then I'm going to go through choices. So Emma asked me earlier, she said, hey, I want you to come on, and I've done 2 of these now. I did the one last year, and
Hey, Chris, your internet's
what I decided to.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, you're frozen. Your screen is frozen and your audio's cutting out a little bit.
Am I back? Am I back? Am I back?
Yeah. Yep. Kind of.
Kind of, sort of?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of what? Kind of, maybe? Can you still?
Yep, we can still hear you now.
Do you want me to log back on?
Why don't you try that just to make sure that we get, well, actually, I think you're pretty good now. Keep going.
I'm pretty good. Am I like a mime now?
a little mime,
Like
a little pantomime, yes, but now you're just voguing, so.
Okay. Right. Vogue, right? So Emily, where'd you lose me in the process?
When you were starting to talk about that you've done this call a couple times with this group.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I've done this call a couple times, and I did it last year, and our questions were all over the place. So what I told Emily I would do is I decided to do is I created 7, what I call 7 reasons why, if you choose financial services or consider financial services as a career, it's kind of a no-brainer. Okay, so that's what I'm calling this, Emily. I'm calling it the 7 reasons why. So if someone asked me, why did I choose this industry? These are the 7 reasons, right? The 7 reasons why someone who would consider or should consider the financial services industry as a career, and to me, it's a no-brainer. Okay, cool, let's go. You ready? Number 1. So I don't know if you want to type them in, Emily, as I put them in here, since I'm going to go pretty fast when we get into these. So number 1, autonomy. So the idea of simply this: autonomy gives me the ability to, based on what's important to me, to create my own reality, my own autonomy. Autonomy, is that timing? Autonomy, right? Autonomy. Timing's good, right? But autonomy, my ability to create my own individual self within the craft that I've chosen. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes, autonomy. Yes. So who wants to go work for someone else when you can work for yourself? Right? If you think about how our world was created, the United States was created on entrepreneurship and opportunity, right? It was created on upward mobility. The idea of working for yourself and becoming your own boss, the idea of creating your own reality, the idea of I can create my own wealth out of sheer work and capability. I can create my own system, my own process. I can create it, and at the end of the day, people are going to pay me because I've created it so well. You know, the idea is simple, is that you either are pursuing your dreams or you're part of somebody else's. I'll repeat that. You're either pursuing your dreams or you're part of somebody else's. So those of you who feel like, you know, I really don't want, you know, I really want to go work for somebody else and get, you know, my feet wet and learn how to do it. The problem that you have in that situation is you're telling yourself that you're not capable of doing it on your own. You're not capable of doing it with someone else. You're saying, you know what? You pay me for what you feel I'm worth. And no one can ever pay you what you feel like you're worth. Ever. Why? Because you're independent people, you have individual minds, and you have great passions, and you want to pursue things that are important in your life. Each one of you are consistently different. So number one is autonomy. So the reason why I came into this business is, again, now let me go back. I played sports. And in sports, you play on a team, but you have autonomy, means that you're in control of you and yourself and how good your skill set is, right? So based on what God gave you, your gifts, based on the system you're in, you have to be successful in your own right to be a part of a system that is successful. Does that make sense? So to me, it made sense. In basketball, I had to hold up my end of the bargain so my other teammates could rely on me. And if it came time to it, if the ball came to me, they had to have the confidence in me that I had worked on my skill set. I had worked off season. I had worked hard enough that they could rely on me to be able to potentially either score, rebound, or be a great teammate along the way. So autonomy is one of the reasons why I came into this business. For basketball, it made sense. Sports, it made perfect sense. Is because I was in control of Chris Gandy on the basketball court. I was in control of how hard I wanted to work. I was in control. Again, that autonomy, that gut instinct that tells you, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got it in me. I just don't know where I actually fit. That's a different conversation. But autonomy was one of the reasons why I came in this business. Number two, I came in this business to make a lot of money. Let's be honest, right? In the financial services industry, one of the things that some of the most prolific people say is if you go where the money's at. So to me, it was banking, financial services, professional athlete. Once the professional athlete thing cut off, to me, follow the money. So what do I mean by make a lot of money? So just if I was to take the top 20% of financial advisors, this is one of those businesses that you get paid for every year the longer you stay. So just think about this. I want everybody to think about this for a second. There's less than 1% of companies out there that have pensions. All the pensions have basically dried up. Your parents grew up, when they grew up, there's still some places that still have pensions, like the U.S. Army. If you go to the military for a set amount of years, the U.S. Army, a pension is basically a guaranteed income that an institution or a corporation will pay you for the rest of your life based on how much service you put into that company. Okay, a pension was built in the early 1930s, and it took care of iron workers, and it took care of people that would spend their entire life at a company, and in return, the company would take care of that person for the rest of their life and pay them a percentage of their income. That is what a pension is. Currently, right now, there's less than 1% of companies who still have pensions. They may have 401ks, they got those other things, but a company says that you come work for us, we use your skill set, you make us money, and then at the end of the day, God bless, they give you a toaster oven and say, good luck, we hope you can make it. That's how it works, okay? So my idea was simply this business, if this isn't the greatest reason to come into this business, one of the things I learned about this business is built on compound interest. So can you believe I've been in the business now 23 years? May will start my 24th, 23rd, 24th, something. You lose track, right? I still get paid what I did my first year in this business. What do I mean by that? Is because as long as I followed the guidelines, I continuously get paid on the work that I did the year before, and 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 before, and before, and before that. So you don't see financial advisors that's been in the business 20 years and they're broke unless they just spend too much money. Like, you just don't. And so my idea was I never wanted to be broke again. I grew up very modestly. My mother never made more than $30,000, $36,000 in her career working 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5 to me wasn't appealing. So I wanted to do it differently. And so my autonomy told me I want to do it differently because I'm watching her struggle and I didn't want to struggle. So at the end of the day, I said, there's a job where I can go work in a sales force, and every year they're going to ask me to do more and do more and do more and do more. This business, when I looked at the numbers, they said, hey, if you do the same thing with no increases, every year you're automatically going to give yourself about a 10 to 12% raise because you make renewals and you make something called residual income. That means based on the work you've already done, you continue to get paid on that work for the rest of your life. So the money was number 2. Does anybody on here not like money? Raise your hand. If not, then that's another reason. That's one of the great reasons. Number 3 is your ability to work on your own. Emily and I were talking about this earlier. A snowstorm came through Chicago, got it. Okay, there's ice all over the trees, internet's down, something crazy like that. Today, I'm working from home, right? So at the end of the day, I can have the ability to control my own schedule. I have the ability to control my own schedule. There's nobody that woke me up this morning and said, hey, Chris, you got to go to work. You got to be there by 8 o'clock. If you're not there by 8 o'clock, you're going to get in trouble by your boss and blah, 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 blah. You know, the things that you go when you work in a 9 to 5 job, they say, here are the rules, here are the guidelines. And in exchange for that, we're going to pay you a check every 2 weeks. You say, okay, that's a great thing. You say that's a wonderful thing because I don't have the ability to do it on my own. But in exchange for that, I have the opposite of that because I'm in the opportunity business, right? So our ability to be our own boss, our ability to be our own captain of our ship. And again, we can build it as big as we want. What a wonderful thing is no one's going to limit, no one's going to stand over you, no one's going to micromanage you, so no one's going to say, hey, you're not doing a great job, no one's going to say, hey, you got to increase your sales by 50%, no one's going to sell the company, those things don't impact our business at all, right? The economy is going crazy, the stock market's going down, and so I continue to work every day. And at the end of the day, I have the ability to control my own schedule. So if I want to go on vacation for a week, I can go on vacation for a week. And guess what, everyone? I don't have to ask for time off. Emily, have I ever asked you for time off? Have I ever said, Emily, I need time off. I need a couple weeks. I need a week because I got to figure things out. I need to move. I need a week off. And guess what? You first start working in a 9 to 5, they give you a week. And at the end of the day, you have to work like a slave. But anyways, I don't have that. If I want to move, I can move. If I want to pick up and go across the country, my business moves when I move. So at the end of the day, that's true freedom. Our ability to work because we want to, not because we have to, which is a wonderful thing. Number 4 is it allows for us to actually tap into part, and this part is really kind of nerdy. It allows for us to tap into the 80% of the part of the brain that we don't actually use on a day-to-day basis. We get a chance to continuously learn. So think about that. An opportunity for you to continuously learn and use this muscle up here for the rest of your natural life. Some of you are like, I want to get through school and I want to turn it off. Yeah, you may want to do that. But the idea to continuously learn, the world is evolving. And at the end of the day, if you're on the forefront of what's evolving, you have the ability to continuously learn. NAIFA as an organization has its own educational platform, right? Where you can actually get certifications. You can get the CLU, you can get the LACP, which I am. You can get lots of designations specifically in learning about what's happening between, the people that are in government and what's happening with us, and the actuality, what's happening to our clients in the marketplace. So what a wonderful thing to be a part of is, the ability to actually dream big. So I can speak for me. I went to work for a company when I said I'm going to be in financial services. They're like, we're going to be in business for ourselves and not by ourselves. So there was a company that was supporting us. And I went to work for a company by the name of Northwestern Mutual, which was a great experience. It was wonderful. But at the end of the day, I wanted to dream. My dream was bigger than Northwestern Mutual. My goal was to build something massive. And at the end of the day, if it wasn't in somebody else's stadium, there's my sports reference. If I didn't play in somebody else's stadium, I wanted to play in my own. So I created my own reality because my dream is much bigger than what someone else's dream is for me. Okay, that's why we dream. So if we can tap into that 98% of our, or 90% of our brain we're not using and start to create opportunity, what an amazing space that would be. The idea of the next one is, what about this? Learning about money. What a crazy thing. I'm gonna give you some statistics. 96% of Americans currently right now, have less than $10,000 in their bank account. They've been working for the last 20 years. They don't know. They don't know about money. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to take care of it. They don't know how to use credit. The average human being right now, even though you're in school, the average human being who's born with no chance in this world yet, currently right now, is born with $3,621 of debt already as they come out of the womb. Which means the average American has more debt than they have income. So they're irresponsible. They have an irresponsible relationship with money. This thing about money, understanding the dynamic behind it and understanding how to teach people about it, understanding the purpose of it, understanding the power of it, understanding how to actually have intelligent and practical conversations about money with individuals who, at the end of the day, everybody is a decision maker. Everybody I meet tomorrow, or I go to the store today, they're a decision maker. They're making decisions about their own financial well-being. No one's making decisions for them. And so I wanted to be a part of that ecosystem, right? Imagine that. There's opportunity everywhere. And so learning about money, which was very, very, very awesome and amazing and great. Being a part of the community, remember this one, being a part of the community. Love it, right? You're actually, can you hear me, Emily? You heard me? You heard me? Being a part of a community. Kinda? No? Am I breaking up again? Being a part of a community. Community. Everybody loves each other, right? So the idea is simple. The simple idea, everyone, is just, hear me out, is this is hard to do on your own. I'm going to give you a quote. The journey of life wasn't meant to be walked alone. The idea that like-minded individuals have a tendency to find other like-minded individuals. If you don't believe me, have you ever been in school? Have you ever worked with someone and you've ever been at a group project, greatest thing, and you found yourself working with the same people that are kind of like, yeah, I like this person's this person will get the work done. I can rely on them. Find each other. What you found is a community, financial services, a community, we share all the secrets. In some communities, so I can tell you, in the drug world, in the drug rep world, or some of the other worlds where people are like, I'm gonna get in sales, I'm gonna do this, they don't share each other's secrets. They don't share best practice. Hey, if you do this, this helped me, right? They don't do that. They say, you know what? I'm not gonna tell anybody. This is my secret. I'm not gonna tell anybody. That's them. That's the world of competition. The competition is, I'm not gonna leave my playbook. You have to figure it out yourself. And along the way, you're going to burn yourself. You're going to mess up. You're going to do all those things. That's your problem, not my problem. We're a community where literally I can pick up the phone and call a guy I know made $10 million last year. He answered the phone. He said, hey, Chris, how can I help you? And say, here, hey, how did you do this? He said, you know what? I'll just send it over to you. Let me know if you need my help. I'll walk you through it. What an amazing community. NAIFA supports that community. NAIFA is the advocacy, education, empowerment, opportunity. That's what NAIFA does. It's our collective community of like-minded individuals in this financial space. That's what NAIFA does for us. It allows for us to understand and be on the forefront of being able to create advocacy and being able to help everyone in the U.S. with their financial well-being. Okay, so last but not least is passion. love this. It allows me to be my true, authentic me. And again, I'm nobody else, right? And so you get a chance to think about this. By helping other people achieve their goals, you will achieve yours. The more people I help, the more money I make. Isn't that really great? A lot of businesses is the more money they make, the more other people lose. That's not this business. This business is a business of you can really develop the opportunity of helping other people. And by helping people, helping your community, you will get a chance to make a lot of money along the way, and you get a chance to succeed. You get a chance to be thought of as a leader. You get a chance to actually do great things and give back to your community where you came from. Here's what I'll tell you, young professionals on this call, this is bigger than you. This is bigger than you. You guys all have a last name. That name came before you. So you represent more than just you. You represent all the other ones who are watching behind you, your brothers, your sisters, your mother, your father. You represent them. They are so proud of you for being who you are. But at the end of the day, they're always going to be proud of you. So how are you going to create opportunity for others by what you do and how you do it? That is where passion moves forward and goes beyond skill set, right? And skill set is, oh, I got my degree. What am I going to do with it? You have to figure out what your passions in life are, because you all have gifts and skills. This career allows you to be passionate beyond measures. It allows for you to live your best life, your great life, and allows for you to impact the lives of others. So think about that. By helping other people achieve your goals, you will get a chance to achieve yours. And this is bigger than you. What an amazing opportunity. So if you ask the question, why did I choose this business? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just pick one. It doesn't matter. That is why I chose this business, which is great. From basketball to the boardroom for me was pretty easy, because I got paid to be autonomous. I got paid to help people. I got paid to actually create a skill and develop the skill well beyond. And I got paid for every time I dribbled that basketball. I got a chance to get paid on that now in our business. To me, it was a seamless, and I could work as hard as I wanted. I didn't have hours. I can work 20 hours a day if I wanted to. I can work 4 hours a day if I wanted to. But the skill, the great ones, to get to the Hall of Fame, they had to work on their skill set. They had to work when other people weren't watching. And so this allows for us to be able to do that. And the advice, someone said, what advice would you give a student if they were coming out? And my response to that would be very simple, is to follow the things that make you happy. Follow the things that you want to pursue, and don't let anybody else tell you you can't do it, right? Do you know the difference between impossible and possible is the apostrophe? I'm possible. That's it. There's nothing that's impossible that you can't do. Zero. You can accomplish anything you want if you really desire to do it. But I warn you, you have to be committed and not just interested. It can't be convenient. If it's convenient, stop doing it and start doing the hard stuff on purpose, because that's what's going to excel you, your career, and the opportunity. Emily, I'm done. I'm done preaching for today. But
you're all good. So
I will open it up.
Yeah, so I think you kind of touched on this, Chris, but I think maybe if you can kind of talk a little bit more about maybe go a little more in depth into this, but how do you ensure that you're consistently working towards your mission?
I relive it every day. One of the hardest things to do is my objective is to be different on purpose, right? And so is to do it differently than I see others do it. And so for me, Chris Gandy, it's writing down the things that are important to me, like this, and then revisiting those things daily. It's daily habits and rituals every day that creates the dream. It's not if I go to sports, right? I have to go to the gym when no one else is looking. I got to take shots when no one else is looking, not just when there's 20,000 people in the stands. Right? If I'm waiting to practice until there's 20,000 people in the stands, I've already lost. Because the odds are I'm going to be nervous trying to shoot that shot. I'm going to be trying to overcome fear and uncertainty. And I may not have the actual muscle memory down because I haven't practiced it enough times. So for me, this is just practice. It's practicing. I get a chance to talk to really, Emily, I get a chance to talk to people and make money for a living. I mean, who's paying us to do that? Fantastic. It's great.
Let's see. When facing success and consistently growing, what are some things you do to stay humble and down to earth?
One is, well, it's really interesting. Is I'm a person. If I would, it's right now. I'm in a room, but here's what I'll tell you. I don't post awards. I have a rule of thumb, even at my office, I allow my staff to post 3 awards, and those 3 awards can stay on the wall, and then the rest of them go in a box somewhere. And the reason why is because it breeds complacency. So when I played sports, our coach used to say, don't read your press clippings. So if we had a good game, our coach would tell us, don't read your press clippings, because all it does is it breeds content. And you're a human being. You're like, yeah, this is great. This is wonderful. I did a great job, blah, blah, blah. And you have a tendency to not have an edge because you feel good, because you're feel. So an example is, you go and you eat and you're full, and you go to Thanksgiving dinner, you're full, blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm full, right? And so you're not hungry for a period of time. Well, in the same token, our business is the same way. Your first year, if you get a job and you're making $300,000 a year, your first job, you're like, do you really feel like you got to work that hard anymore? Probably not. Matter of fact, I would find the right job that makes you happy and don't pursue the money the first opportunity. Because the money itself, if you work hard enough and you find the right skill set and you do the right things, you're going to make enough money if you're passionate enough about it. Because money is nothing more than stored labor. That's all it is. And if someone's willing to pay you something, that means that's what they see your value is. And at the end of the day, that means your value is twice as much as that, because at the end of the day, that means they have to make money and you have to make money. So they're paying you a portion. I like football and basketball and baseball because of this reason. Let's see, Dak Prescott. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, the quarterback, whatever. Dak, everybody knows who this guy is that plays up in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, right? So everybody knows who Tom Brady is, right? So Tom Brady can make $60 million next season if he decides to come back. He can make $100 million. But you know what? The guy who pays Tom Brady can afford to pay Tom Brady $120 million because he has $340 million. Because that's what Tom Brady is worth to that organization. So that guy can make $340 million. He can pay out $100 million, so he can afford to do it. I want to be the guy that affords to do it versus working somebody else's dream. So that's why. So that's how I stay tuned in to what's important. It's hard to do, but just don't read your own press clippings. It's not that, I mean, it's in sport. I just use sports, for example. Imagine we all played on a basketball team and we're celebrating the win from 12 games ago. And we're in the game that we're playing 12 competitions after that. What kind of nonsense does that make? Hey, Emily, let's go celebrate 3 years ago, because guess what? That was a wonderful year and we did so well, right? And we're fighting the fight today. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that edge. Super important. Keep the fire. What else, Emily?
Well, people are wanting to connect with you on LinkedIn and get your contact information to continue. Oh, and we lost him. I'm sure he'll be back. But yes, Chris is on LinkedIn. Christopher Gandy, if you search for him there, he is on LinkedIn. Hopefully he'll be back here in a moment. But so hopefully this has been a great experience for all of you to kind of get to hear from all of these different industry leaders, kind of all the different areas of specialty that they have, their experience. As you can tell, everybody has come into this industry in different ways, and everybody has their own little story to share. So it's been a great experience. And so if you were unable to participate live for all the sessions, we'll be sending out a final email that has all of them in there. And then there's also a survey, excuse me. And with the survey, what we want you to do is just kind of give us some feedback, things like that. And then once you complete the survey, after you've watched all 4 sessions, complete the survey, and then we'll send you the certificate. So that's kind of the process for that. And you know, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that that NAIFA does have a student membership. And so a lot of these actually every single one of these individuals that you have engaged with are members of NAIFA, and you know, they're coast to coast. And like Chris was talking about earlier, and I know he was breaking up a little bit during this portion, but is the community and how you can help to build that community. You know, Lily, I'll pick on you a second because you know, after the first session, you reached out to John Richardson, and John has already connected you with some people throughout the NAIFA family, as we like to call it, and making those introductions, and that just increases. And the student membership is only $50 a month, or I'm sorry, $50 a year. So it's, and you get all of the same perks and benefits that you have with as a full paying member. You actually have resources to get to WebCE, which offers, they actually have a pre-licensing course. So, you know, if you're looking to get your insurance license, you can get a huge discount on your WebCE. And then once you start earning CEs and things like that, and earning your licensure and your certifications and things like that, you do have to keep up a certain level of CE every 3 years is typically what it is. But you know, and there's definitely way more benefits than that. But I encourage everybody to check it out and consider joining us, because this is really a great community. You know, you've got a good community within your college, but then what happens after you graduate? You know, where's your personal connections after that? And this is just a great landing space to be able to find that. And as Chris also mentioned, you know, there's no competitive vibe within our members. And and he's back. And let me let him in. But you know that you can pick up the phone and call another member of NAIFA at any point and say, hey, you know what, this case is difficult. You know, I'm you know, need to get some ideas from you, bounce some ideas off people. And you know, and that's really where that community of NAIFA comes in. So welcome back, Chris, and you're muted. So there you go. Yeah, why don't you try turning off your video? Maybe
on this path.
Use the bandwidth for the audio.
Yeah, I did. Is that better?
Yes, much.
Okay, I did that. Sorry, I'm the bad person here, and I'm actually sitting in a place where I believe I get a fantastic signal. There's just a lot of towers down here. It's insane.
Yes.
But anyways, I asked Emily, I said, sorry about that. That was a Chris Gandy thing. Again, unstable Wi-Fi. You know, technology works when it works. It doesn't when it won't, when it doesn't, which is kind of a weird thing. But we hope technology continues to work in our favor.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so I heard you answering some questions. What other questions were there
Yeah,
around
well, I had
community and opportunity?
yes. So when you cut out was right when somebody had asked about contact information, and I said that you do have a profile on LinkedIn. And then I was kind of going on about one of your numbers that you had talked about, which was community, and was kind of talking about the student membership of NAIFA. Lily, who's on the call, actually, after our first session with John Richardson, reached out, and John introduced her, made some introductions to some NAIFA members in her local area and things like that. And just, you know, leveraging that relationship, because your college community and, you know, your advisors and your professors are great up until you graduate. And then where do you find your professional network to find your place or ask your questions? And you know, hopefully NAIFA's that place.
You couldn't have said it better than the commercial.
It might be in marketing.
Right. That's amazing. I would just echo, hopefully you can hear me again. It looks like they're finally fixing it though. So I would echo that, get connected sooner than later. Don't wait till you graduate. And the reason why is because think of it as going on a vacation. You don't pack once you go on vacation, you pack before you go. It's the same concept, is that you start building the relationships now. And again, you don't know what relationships are going to be the ones that you actually are meaningful to you, but the more you have, the better it is. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, follow us on Midwest Legacy Group. You can reach out to me. Emily can provide my contact info if you'd like to communicate with me. And then connect with people. It doesn't matter where they are, whether you're in your town or anywhere in the country. I mean, we all have the ability. What COVID did for all of us is it made it so boundaries weren't really a thing, right? Before it was like, hey, I got to go down to the state, or I have to go here. Now we can connect with people halfway across the country with video and technology. So we don't need to be close to people to build a relationship or a connection anymore. And what COVID did is it made everyone realize that, because if not, you weren't doing business anymore. So, the utilization of technology when it works is fantastic.
Yeah. We got another question that came in. What are some ways to gain experience before getting into the industry, i.e. entry-level jobs?
I mean, I don't know if I can answer that. I say that jump in. I mean, there are so there's internships. Like, I have 3 interns in my office, and they actually do the deal, right? So we're teaching them the business, right? And so it's great. I mean, it's great. They get an opportunity to learn, is this something I want to do? Or do I want to be a part of a team that does this? Or are there parts of this I like to do and other parts I don't? So they're getting the experience to do it before they say, yes, I absolutely want to do this for a career. And I think there are more than enough NAIFA members that would say, hey, yeah, come in tomorrow, come work with me. I'd love to partner with you, teach you, and show you what to do. But I don't think this is an industry that I know it's not really. It's really not an industry that has what I would call a comparable model. I don't know of any that I can compare it to that would make sense. But I would say try some internships. And again, internships aren't necessarily, I graduated. I mean, an internship is basically an experience at a job without actually, so you can kind of test it out before you actually go into it, or it allows for you to look behind the scenes to figure out what part of that job I like, versus just jumping into it. Some of those people that are like me, I just jump in and figure it out once I get in it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in it now, so let's make it happen, right? But everybody's not like that.
So we have another one, and this one I think is relevant, given Chris and I's background in some of the projects that we've worked on. But does this industry have opportunities for international people? And so I think what you're asking is, if and are you asking, if you're not a US citizen, or are you asking like within culturally diverse international relationships?
I would say both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So short answer, yes. But Chris, I'll let you take that.
Sure. The answer is yes. The follow-up answer is yes and yes. So let me comment on the first thing. So first is that one is that you don't have to be a US citizen to actually do our business, right? But on the flip side of that, some companies won't do the sponsorship program, other companies will. So you just have to find the right companies and advisors that will allow for the sponsorship. I'm assuming that's what you're speaking of, right? The sponsorship program. You got to actually have a certain sponsored employer sponsored visa to be able to stay if you're not from the country, that kind of fun stuff. But that's just crossing a T and finding that's crossing T's, dotting I's, and just finding the right organization. That's not a big deal. As for culture wise, is finding other people that are a part of your culture. I mean, your culture is unique, right? And so there are other unique people. You probably aren't the first person from your country over here, right? You're probably not the first person that speaks another language that's over here. So But again, everybody needs help. So I wouldn't necessarily look at it as like my culture, but that would give you a marketing edge too. So, there are unique cultures. There are cultures as it deals with sexuality, LGBT and same sex. There's those cultures. There are African American cultures, there's Hispanic cultures, there's Chinese cultures, there's Western civilization cultures, there's multiple cultures within cultures, but everybody needs help, right? The needs of people is everybody needs help. So I wouldn't necessarily just isolate yourself to working with people from your culture either. But I will tell you that a lot of people that have come from other cultures and come to the United States have a tendency to stick together and do business amongst each other, which creates a unique marketing opportunity for you. I will tell you that. So did that answer both of those questions? The right fit for the work visa, stuff like that, sponsorship program, and then the culture programs. That's my aspect. Emily, you have something else?
No. And, I guess what I was going to tie in with that is NAIFA actually has a DEI initiative that we have, and we've got a lot of resources in through that. Last year, Chris was actually the chair of our DEI council, and I did a lot of work with him on that. So yep, so there's a lot of information that's out there.
I'm actually the chair this year too. Did you know that?
I didn't.
I am. I'm actually the chair this year. I was the DEI guy last year. I was the winner. Remember?
Well, I know.
My word said it's like missing in the mail somewhere. I want to put it on somewhere, which is really cool.
You haven't gotten it yet?
No, no one can find it.
Okay, I'll work on that.
I'll call you after this. We can talk about it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, Chris, thank you so much. Internet issues aside, great information as always. Please, students, feel free to reach out to any of the people that have been a part of the Future Leaders Program. Part of the reason why they do this is because they do believe so much in the future of the industry and what you can provide, and making sure that you coming into the industry have the tools and resources and have those connections, so that you are set up for success when you do officially start working in the industry. So very appreciative of everybody's time, talent, resources, and we'll be sending out, the recording for this, as well as a survey to complete, and then you'll get your certificate. So we appreciate your participation in the program.
Well, Emily, I'm sitting in a place where I'm moving around my house, right? It's kind of crazy. I'm sitting in a place where I know I have good bandwidth. So thanks everyone for being on this call. It's so amazing. I wish I could see all your faces. I don't think I can see faces. Oh, I see a couple faces. Okay. Look at the leaders up tomorrow. Emily, this is great. Thanks all of you for being on. Like I said, connecting with me on LinkedIn. I'm on the gram too. I'm doing big things. I just joined Twitter. I tweeted this morning, so that was fantastic. Look at me and my technology, right? But this does allow for, I will say this, young people, you guys do have an edge in our business. Our business, the average advisor is 58-year-old white male from wherever he's at. But the industry is changing, and I can tell you society is changing, and they're looking for young professionals to come into this industry and, quite frankly, take it over. My predecessors before me, we don't understand how to utilize technology, TikTok, and social media. We're still behind the 8 ball. We need young people like you to come into this industry and bring that pizzazz and that passion, and bring what and how to communicate, and how to talk to people about the ways that we just don't. So the skill set, that is your strength. I heard someone say this, Emily, and I'll leave with this, that when you're young and you're inexperienced, how do I get in? What you don't understand is that is your strength. It's not your weakness. It's a tool that you have to be able to leverage that we don't have. And I can tell you right now, if you knew how to do TikTok and you knew how to do some of the social media stuff, I don't know how to do that. I know how to do what I do, which is talk to people, help people, and help them make smart decisions with money. And hopefully you come into this industry and you learn some of the same things. And hopefully one day you're sitting in one of my classes, because I teach at other companies and teach other people and mentor other people, because company affiliation is irrelevant to getting to know people in our industry. And that's what NAIFA brings us together in that type of community. Correct, Emily?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
you.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.